This is test number 3 review still, and I'm now moved on to subtracting fractions. That is working on problems right now, problems 14, 15, and 16. Okay? So when we're subtracting fractions, just like adding fractions, you have to find a common denominator. You cannot subtract these numerators without having a denominator that's the same. So we have to make an equivalent fraction, or equivalent fractions. So we're looking at 9 and 2. A common denominator, or least common multiple, between those two numbers is going to be number. You look at the larger number and you go through the multiples of 9. And you say, does 2 go into 9? No, it doesn't. So you have to go to the next multiple. Next multiple is 18. Well, the 18 is an even number, so 2 will go into 18. So now you know 9 goes into 18 and 2. So you can change these denominators so they're both 18. So 9 times 2 is 18. So that means if we multiply this by 2, we have to multiply the numerator by the same number, 2. So to get 18 here, we have to multiply by 9. Which means we are forced to multiply the numerator by 9. So that gives us new fractions. 5 times 2 is 10. 9 times 2 is 18. If you reduce this, you get back to 5/9. But we're trying to be able to subtract, so we have to create the same denominator. 9 times 2 is 18. 9 times 1 is 9. And we subtract, and bringing over this subtraction sign. So we remember what we're doing. Now we can subtract the numerators. 10 minus 9 is 1. So that's the answer to 14. Problem 15. So we're looking at the denominators of 7 and 2, so we have to find a common denominator, or a least common multiple. So we look at the larger number and we do our multiples. 7 times 1 equals 7. Does 2 go into 7? No. So we have to go to the next multiple. 7 times 2, which is then 14. Does 2 go into 14? Yes. So that is the common denominator, or least common multiple, between 7 and 2. So in order to get 14 here, we have to multiply by 2. So which means we're forced to multiply the numerator by the same number. And the denominator here has to be multiplied by 7. So then the numerator is multiplied by 7. 5 times 2 is 10. 7 times 2 is 14, so we make a new fraction of 10/14. 5/7 and 10/14 are equivalent fractions. 7 times 1 is 7. 7 times 2 is 14. 1/2 and 7/14 are equivalent fractions. So now we've created numerators that we can subtract because we have common denominators. 10 minus 7 is 3. So we have 3/14. So the answer to number 15 is 3/14. Number 16. Once again, we have to find a common denominator between 9 and 12. So we take the larger number and we do 12 times 1. It's 12, and we say, does 9 go into 12? No, so we go to the next multiple. 12 times 2 is 24. And we say, does 9 go into 24? No, it doesn't. So we have to go to the next multiple, 12, which is 36. Does 9 go into 36? Yes, it does. It goes in 4 times. And if you notice, if you kept going with multiples, you can go and make multiples forever and ever. You can always times by one number higher. And so 12 times 4 is 48. But we're looking at the least common, the lowest number we can possibly create between the two that is a common multiple. We can continue to work this problem horizontally, or we can change it to a vertical problem, which I like to do just because of the way it's easier, I think, to keep track of things. So we got 1/12. So let's make our common denominator. We know we're trying to make it 36. So in order to make this denominator 36, we have to multiply by 4, which forces us to multiply the numerator by 4. In order to make this denominator 36, we multiply by 3. So that means we multiply the numerator by 3. So that gives us a new equivalent fraction for 7/9, which will then be 7 times 4 is 28. 9 times 4 is 36. So 28/36 is equivalent to 7/9. 1 times 3 is 3. 12 times 3 is 36. So our equivalent fraction to 1/12 is 3/36. We have a common denominator. Remember that we're subtracting. A lot of times what will happen after we do a lot of different moves like this, we'll forget, were we adding or subtracting? So keep track. 8 minus 3 is 5. 2 minus 0 is 2. So 28 minus 3 is 25 over the denominator of 36. Well, can we reduce that? Is it divisible by 2? No, 25 is not, 36 is. Is this one divisible by 3? 2 plus 5 is 7? No. 36 is, but this is not. Is it divisible by 4? 36 is, 25 is not. Is it divisible by 5? 25 is, 36 is not. Is it divisible by 6? 25 is not, and then 36 is. You see where this is going. 7 is not divisible by both of them. 8 is not divisible by 25 or 36. 9 is not divisible by 25, but it is divisible by 36. Basically, this is reduced. After I went through all of that, that is reduced. So the answer to 16 is 25 over 36.